Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. Um, I'm here to talk about JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. The two missing kids went missing from Idaho, Rexburg, Idaho. The missing persons report was filed on December 20th, but they were last seen much earlier than that. I think September was the last time they were actually seen by somebody that's spoken to authorities, like the school where they were attending. I don't want to review everything, all the different stuff up to this point. I'm just going to go through some of the stuff that I've been looking at, and I've said for a while now that I thought this was about life insurance, and I still think it is. I do, but I'm not sure if it's even bigger than the people that are involved here. Charles Vallow, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, Tammy Daybell, Alex Cox, Joseph Anthony Ryan, and so forth. I don't know, but there's just lots of stuff that's totally crazy. In addition to how in addition to what's out there right now. So let me and there's body cam. They've sort of corrected the body cam where Lori Daybell was muted. They've put that out there, and there's also same thing that what Alex Cox was telling to the officer, I think, was muted as well. That's been put out there, and it totally makes no sense. Besides being completely bizarre in the way that they conduct themselves, Lori Vallow seems completely unfazed by the fact, both of them, Alex Cox, that her husband, her estranged husband, had just been shot moments ago, and it's just crazy. But earlier, it was reported that Lori Vallow had told authorities that she was in the kitchen, and that when she heard shots, she walked in the living room and saw Charles Vallow on the ground, ran outside to check on the kids, and then took off with the kids in the rental car that Charles Vallow had rented. Was about to go back in, but then decided to just get out of there and did. And, supposedly took, JJ to school. But according to Alexander Cox, when he's talking to this officer, he says they left before he even shot him. That there was an altercation that was beginning between Lori Vallow and Charles Vallow, and that Tylee Ryan, to protect her mom, kind of came at Charles Vallow with a bat and poked at him with a bat, and the Charles Vallow took it from her, and but then they all got out of there. JJ, Tylee, and Lori, and then it was just him, Alex, and Charles left there. And I'll probably paste some of that. Maybe I'll do that now. But I want it before I do that. There was this other story about the landlord of this house where the body cam is, where they were living in June 2019. Where Charles Vallow was shot. Charles Vallow wasn't living there. He had moved back to Houston temporarily, and I had heard about this previously. Some people talked about it in the comments, and he reveals some stuff. I mean, this is so, if I'm right, and I'm beginning to think, because it's so crazy, dude, what I think might be going on. And I don't know how it's possible that people could do this. You have to have some pretty sophisticated criminals, and just, you got to get some help, inside help, to do what I think is going on. But I do think it involves life insurance too. So, but this is the landlord that basically said, he owned the property they were renting, and he was friends with them. He posted this on a Facebook group, and according to this report, he's out there in a couple different reports. His name is Joe Pongratz. He owns some investment properties in Chandler, him and his brother, and he has a successful, legitimate business. This is obviously, these are properties that, where he puts money that he's made. He's got a big, a good business. At least that's what it looks like to me. So, and I suppose he's just trying to, set the record straight by putting this out there. And he claims in this that he knew them, and he's just explaining some stuff. Although he's taking it down. He's taking it down, to the best of my knowledge. The place where it is, Real Massacre Talk Facebook group, it's not there anymore. And this wasn't This wasn't out there like back when the incident took place. This got posted after this whole story completely exploded, after the kids went missing. Tammy Daybell's death started to be looked into as a suspicious death, and Alex Cox, died the day after her body was exhumed, etc. So I'll play those two body cams, just portions of them, a couple minutes apiece, and keep rolling. So he says, I've known Lori and Charles since they moved to Chandler many years ago. We rented them the first home they lived in for around 5 years before moving to Hawaii. I'd say we were good friends. My family visited them, Charles, Lori, Tylee, and JJ in Kauai. When they returned to Chandler, Charles and I had several conversations during Lori's disappearance, February 2019. He came to my house and cried, telling me he's so sad and that he can't believe she just abandoned JJ. A few text messages followed, and then they resurfaced as Charles tried to make the marriage work. We then rented Charles and Lori another home in June 2019. That's this home. I mean, I have my own ideas of why he decided to post this. I do. I'm not going to share them entirely with you, but I do. And I will say, I'm not going to comment on every little thing that he says, but that seems to just match up pretty perfectly with what was filed in that time, in February 2019, the court documents that were filed. I mean, I don't know why he brings that up. Anyways, let me keep going. So we then rented Charles and Lori another home in June 2019 where Charles was murdered July 11th. Charles and I were texting the night before on July 10th at 7:49 p.m. and planning to meet in the morning to find him another place to live because it wasn't working out with Lori. That was the morning he was shot. Many very weird events followed. When the neighbors informed me police were at the house and yellow tape surrounded, I immediately texted both Charles and Lori, "Are you okay?" No response until around 11 a.m. and Lori replied, We are okay. I'll explain later. She and Alex were taken to Chandler PD for questioning and released. That day, the neighbors reported a pool party at the house the same day Charles was murdered, with loud music and lots of people swimming. Neighbors also reported Alex was staying at the house for several days following the shooting, even though he lived in the same area. I spoke with Lori several times days following the shooting, and she never sounded shocked, sad, or heartbroken, as you would think a bride would be watching her husband die. He calls her a bride too. I asked her to move out, which she did, August 31st. No communication as to where she was going. I really like Charles and miss his smile and Louisiana, Texas twang accent. He was generous and a family man. Such a terrible loss. I'm so sorry he's gone. I wish I could have helped him more sooner. Rest in peace, my friend. The reason I said he calls her bride too is because I remembered, this post. I talked about this, and I didn't understand that exactly because, I thought he had another woman maybe or something. This post he had this post he had over at his LinkedIn page, and this is from December 2018, basically a month and a half, 2 months before February 2019, that he filed divorce paperwork, and that supposedly he's crying at this guy's house about all this stuff, and that's what everyone else says too. But he's talking, it doesn't matter. Basically he says, so I'll sign off. This is December 2018. He says, so I'll sign off now as my bride and I have some serious Christmas shopping to do. He references my wife and kids are all very supportive. He's talking about work and working. Sometimes he has 80-hour weeks. Sometimes he has 3-hour weeks and owning your own business, whatever. But I didn't know, some Christians call their wife their bride. It's supposed to be an endearing term. I don't know. I just noticed that. Anyways. So, and I don't know if I mentioned it. This guy posted it. It says over here that this guy in a Facebook post Sunday, based on this article when it was dated. This is the 6th, which is actually that's the Sunday. This was posted on the 6th. Like I said, to the best of my knowledge, it's not there anymore. It's funny, man. I'll get into all this other stuff too, because initially, and he mentions the neighbors told him they were having a pool party and lots. What did he say? Neighbors also reported Alex was staying at the house for several days following the shooting, even though, no, I'm sorry. That day, the neighbors reported a pool party at the house the same day Charles was murdered with loud music and lots of people swimming. When I saw this picture, I initially thought, until I saw the body cam, I was completely honed in on the neighbor's home, okay? Because the crime scene van is right in front of it. But actually, if you notice, there's crime scene tape that goes this way, and this is the home. This is his home, and he's listed as the owner of that home. His investment. They title their investments like LLCs for each individual property. It's a pretty common practice, but it's just somebody who's fairly smart, business minded. But initially, I was definitely honed in on this home here. I don't know, man. I don't know. I get the distinct impression that this post was for that reason. Because I was focused on this one, dude. And, I'm obviously not going to reveal private information. And it's not there. It's not right out in front. You have to figure some things out. But I was absolutely floored to realize a connection to that home. And that's why I opened this saying, I don't know if this is bigger than just, insurance fraud, and or insurance, trying to claim insurance, get payouts on life insurance. Who knows, dude? Who knows? Anyways, I will say, one of the things I mentioned in my previous videos is all the different places they were staying. First off, they're extremely nice. Okay, some of them are $1 million properties, not just in Hawaii. That's like a $700,000 property or almost $800,000 property. But there's the $1 million property they lived in Arizona. They lived in 4 different places in Hawaii, One was $2.3 million, one was $1.6 million, one was $1.3 million, one was $1.2 million. The rent for these places would be off the chart, man. You would have to be like independently wealthy almost, because if you're making the kind of money to afford that kind of rent, but you're just making the kind of money to afford that kind of rent and not much more, you wouldn't do that. You would buy real estate and you wouldn't just throw money away. But whatever, that's really, I don't know this person's, I don't know what his tax returns look like, not that necessarily would prove this or that, but many of the properties were living trusts, family trusts, revocable trusts, a lot of investment properties are that way, but not all, dude, not all at all. There were so many that were irrevocable trusts, family trusts. Even Alex Cox's property, where I think him and his new wife were living, was a family trust, if I had that right. Typically trusts, even sometimes, you'll get your attorney. An attorney will set up a trust for you. That's normally how it goes. It's attorneys everywhere. That doesn't mean anything, but whatever. So let me just play a little bit of this, and so you hear Alex Cox saying his, actually that's Lori Cox, and this is Alex Cox coming up right here. Oops.
What is it over?
Well, it was over my sister. He was getting physical with her, and so my niece came out with her bat, and then he took the bat away from her.
Wait a minute, I thought you said your niece left.
She did, but this is before.
Okay, so before your sister and your niece left,
yeah.
At some point your sister and her husband are arguing.
Yes.
Verbal argument. And then your niece pulls out a bat?
Well, it wasn't verbal. He was getting close, and she came out to defend my sister with her bat.
Your niece?
Yes.
Okay.
And then she poked at him, and then he took it away.
Okay.
And then I stepped in and told them they needed to separate.
Right.
So
that happened. Come on, dude.
Okay. And what'd you do with your phone?
that's
Okay. And then what'd you do in the room or?
Yeah, I went back to bed.
Back in your room.
So I just went back to the living room.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Hi. Who are you? Back in your room.
So I just went back to the living room. Like, what is your problem?
With the gun?
Yes. And I said, I want you.
You went to your room 10 minutes?
20 minutes maybe? I don't know.
Okay. So not terribly long.
No.
Oh, okay.
And then defend my sister with her bat.
Your niece?
Yes.
Okay.
And then she poked at him, and then he took it away.
Okay.
And then I stepped in and told them they needed to separate.
Right.
So then my sister leaves with my niece.
How long ago did they leave? Been like an hour, 10 minutes?
20 minutes maybe? I don't know.
Okay. So not terribly long.
No.
Oh, okay.
And then he's coming back at me, and he still got the bat in his hand. Like, what are you doing?
And where are you at it? Where are you both
in the
at?
living room.
Okay.
And then I turned around, and he hit me in the back of the head with the bat. So I went to my room and got my gun that I was carrying.
You went to your room, meaning the room you're staying in?
Yeah.
Okay, and you brought a gun with you?
Yes.
Do you always bring a gun?
I have a concealed carry always.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Hi, who are?
So, you heard him say that they left. They left before the shooting. That's not what was reported before. But here's and you can watch all that yourself. It'll all be linked in the description if you want. Such a turkey, dude. Just got to bear with me. I'm not going to go too much further than I have so far.
I get to come back out here and retape this. So that's a. All right, let me get your information. Does your husband live here or no? Oh. Gotcha. Okay, you guys got it. Gotcha. Okay. Let me just get your. Do you have a driver's license with you? I can just grab it. Thank you. L-O-R-I. What does your middle initial stand for? Noreen. N-O. V-A-L-L. What's a phone number for you, Lori? Not in Santan. This is your home.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. We just moved in.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
Sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay.
That's why the neighbors took the last time.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
Okay. And you're still about 5'6", 120? Thank you, ma'am. Hello, young lady. And let me just get your information. How old are you?
16.
16? Okay. And that's mom? Okay, what's your first name, mom?
So, I'm going to stop it here in a second. I'm gonna pretty much sort of wrap this up.
How old are you again?
16.
16. Do you have a
It's
driver's
obviously
license?
I do. It's inside.
Nice. So you're a new driver, huh? How do you like that?
Well, almost 17.
Almost up. So you're an old hat then.
Yeah, I drove here from Texas by myself, so I'm pretty used to it by now.
Okay. What's your birthday, hon? And you live here with mom?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how tall you are? What do you think you weigh?
Probably like 5'1" maybe.
Mm-hmm. What do you think you weigh?
160 maybe.
Okay. Red or that's brown for sure. Oh, blonde too. You guys, I'm gonna list you as a blonde young lady here. And then blue eyes?
Yeah.
You have very blue eyes. That's not under debate. Do you have your own phone number?
I do.
Okay, hang tight, guys.
So that's it, and obviously it's so strange, I mean, the calm demeanor after basically somebody was just shot is totally nuts. We still don't know the cause of death for Alex Cox. That remains a lot of this stuff, is being investigated, so they're just not putting it out there in the public domain. But it says under questionable circumstances. That's what this report says. KUTV. The Arizona Republic newspaper reported Alexander Cox, the man who admitted to killing Charles in self-defense, died in December 2019 under questionable circumstances. The cause of his death is unknown yet. And, I will say he also, he followed, according to, very sort of just online searches that aren't terribly reliable, but he had a P.O. box in Sugar City, Idaho, along with Lori Vallow as his most recent address. So it appears he may have followed Lori Vallow to Idaho and gone with her. But I don't know. He died in Gilbert, Arizona. It was the Gilbert Police Department that's investigating his death. Just a couple other things I wanted to point out is these court documents about, in February 15th, 2019. And here's the file of it that's online for the case history of Charles Vallow filing for divorce with Lori Vallow. And, other than everybody citing Fox 10 Phoenix, I don't know where these court documents are. And actually, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know how, like where they actually got this language from. And actually, in one of these reports, they show you the front of it. I don't have that up here, I don't think. They show you like the actual court document, the front page of it.
With the details, Justin. Mark, Christina, this petition filed by
Right there.
Charles Vallow 5 months before he died.
So he's got it. I don't see the actual court documents anywhere, and that's not a huge deal. Other than, I mean, there was a motion to designate the documents as confidential, So I don't know how Fox 10 Phoenix actually got their hands on that, It's not a huge thing. But I just wanted also, this interview with these two attorneys, his family attorneys, that basically said, that I don't know where they got, Fox 10 Phoenix got those court documents. I don't know if they got them from the court or somebody just, they paid the right person to get them, or if they were legally able, from Freedom of Information, something to get it. Who knows? Probably that.
Charles Foreman.
But they interviewed, this is Fox 10 Phoenix interviewed the two attorneys, the family attorneys that represented him, and they also, in addition to talking about his case, they say that Charles told them that if something happened to them, Lori Vallow and Alex Cox are the ones who did it, And I will say, the demeanor of the two, of the lead attorney.
Charles' former attorneys say he feared for his life.
His hand
he said, I want to make sure that everyone knows that if something happens to me, Lori and Alex did it.
Last July, Charles came to pick up JJ and Chandler, but then a fight started with Lori's
And they were
brother,
never able
Alex
to serve
Cox.
documents,
Police say
basically.
Alex shot and killed Charles in self-defense.
That she had.
He also believed Lori would take the kids out of state.
The fact that she had called JJ's school and asked if he was present that day really gave us a lot of fear, and Charles had to go over there and take JJ out of school.
JJ's grandparents spoke to the media in Rexburg, Idaho yesterday, announcing a $20,000 reward for information leading to JJ, who filed Charles's petition for sole custody of JJ, says the father didn't just predict his own death, he also believed Lori would take the kids out of state.
The fact that she had called JJ's school and asked if he was present that day really
got an order of protection. His attorneys couldn't find Lori and even tried Idaho.
I think she had a talk or a conference with the preparing of people. Just were not able to ever find her and serve her.
Lori eventually moved to Idaho to marry religious author Chad Daybell.
I don't know. There's nothing really to make of that. I'm just showing it to you. And they never were able to find her and serve the papers. You know, I don't know if Charles was actually in court on this day. You know, with these attorneys when these were filed on 15th, 26th, and then it was dismissed. You know, it was dismissed 1 month later. I don't know. So that's pretty much the whole story there for now. And no, there's not. No, that's not it. That's not it. One last thing. I mean, because I was looking at the body cam of the officer going in there where Charles is laying on the floor. And Charles is blurred out. You can't see him. Okay. Because I do have this absolutely crazy idea. Crazy idea. I don't know how someone could pull this off, but that somehow they're faking their deaths, and the funny thing is my second video about this, I was talking about Chad Daybell, how he worked at the Springville Evergreen Cemetery, when he was in college, digging graves. And actually that during the time that his wife had finished college and he was still finishing college and his wife was working, she worked entering death records into I guess in Springville, Utah. I'm not sure, when they were both going to BYU. I don't know where it was, a different place. I don't have time to pull it up. It's not important. But I had this idea that they had this deep knowledge of how the death record process it goes and knowledge of that, and I was beginning to think, when I was thinking they were exhuming Tammy Daybell's body to make sure it was her, so and I was also thinking that the change in Charles Vallow, God damn it, I'll do it. I'll do a couple things. I'm gonna let me just wait with me, okay? This is Tammy Daybell's, obituary, and that talks about when she was working, what I was saying, and so, it says that during the summer following her freshman year at Brigham Young University, she met Chad Daybell. After Chad graduated and took a job during the summer, her freshman year at Brigham Young University, she met Chad Daybell. They quickly fell in love and were married on March 9th, 1990. Tammy supported the family by working as the secretary for Springville's Parks Department. As part of her job, she typed thousands of handwritten burial records into a computer database. This helped spark her interest in family history, which later would become her favorite hobby. Throughout her life, she submitted more than 100,000 names for temple ordinance work. She even managed to teach her computer-challenged mother to learn and join in the gathering of family history, a miracle. I don't know. And then Charles, Charles's couple of his pictures, and there's one here with JJ, and then JJ's probably 2 or 3 years old. So that's only, 4 or 5 years ago, from 2019 to 2014. But here he is before his death. 5 years later. Here he's got hair and just some scruff around the goatee area. Here he's got a full beard and he's completely bald, and a little bit whatever. So. It would be so difficult to fake your death. I understand that. That is almost impossible. You know what? In this, and do it for 3. But in this body cam, Charles Vallow looks, or not Charles Vallow, Alex Cox. He's 6'1". He gives his information, 6'1", 230 pounds. He's not skinny. He's husky. He looks pretty healthy. Okay. And this is from June 2016. This is that, this is where he's doing the cartoon thing, the cartoon voices on YouTube. In my opinion, those are not the same people. In my opinion, those are, because when okay, like this is you think maybe this is aged, but this is 2016, June 2016, 2.5 years ago. If this is present day, but like I'm saying, in the body cam, he's not skinny or lost any weight. He's healthy looking, just like he looks right here. I don't know, man. To me, those are not the same people. And it's funny. It's funny because this is from. It's just funny. This is from 2.5 years ago, and I don't know when this is from. But they both got a Puma shirt on with a black backdrop, sort of. I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.